A website these days needs to be responsive, which means it works properly on mobile devices, and it also needs to have a mix of media to keep people interested. I think gone are the days when we could just rely on facts and figures, course timetables, prices, and long explanations of methods or approaches. Although that information is still key to a certain extent, people really want to understand the human side, I think, of a company. They want to see and watch stories from learners and teachers, have a guided tour of the school, see the summer course cities in all their glory, and more. I think they also want extra functionality, perhaps some free online materials, perhaps a particular feature like English word of the day or something similar to that. Something which makes the website what's known as sticky. It makes them come back and revisit often. And of course, every time they come back for that particular feature, like word of the day or whatever, they're also engaging with your other website content. You can have a look at a very rough and ready low-tech version of this, which really works, I think, from friends and colleagues Hugh Deller and Andrew Walkley, who run a company called Lexical Lab, and they produce a set of very, very low-tech videos called the 1 Minute English series, which are on YouTube. You'll find the address below this video. I think visitors to a website are going to be looking for photos of happy students, stories of learning and transformation and change, accounts of social events and more. And if you've got a good story, tell it. You know, if you do interesting charity work or if you do work in the community, that kind of thing, let everyone know. In many ways, it's what goes around the core product which makes the school an attractive place to think about investing time and money in. Functionality is also important. You need to make sure that any of the kind of automatic processes are quick and easy, so things like sign-ups, getting people onto your mailing database, legally, obviously, and we'll be looking at that in the video about GDPR. You need to make it easy for people to register, do level tests, pay for courses, that kind of thing. The more clicks and the more steps it takes, the more you're going to kind of reduce the number of people who make it through the journey. I think it's worth, at any given point, examining the customer journeys through our website. So would you have the patience to see the journey through from, arriving on the website to registering for a course? If you wouldn't have the patience to do that, then obviously your clients or potential clients won't have the patience to do that either. So if that's the case, what can you do about it? One of the most important pieces of content, I think, for any website this day, for any school or company which is selling a product or a service, is to have those kind of good quality testimonials from students and past clients. I think anyone coming along to your website, they know that they expect you to try and sell them a course. But what they really do, they may or may not trust you, but they'll certainly trust public reviews. And I think we know that instinctively now, because when we go along to buy something, say on Amazon, one of the things we do is read the reviews quite closely, or at least I do, and lots of people I know do the same. So, you want to get those stories documented and find out what people really say about what you do. And that doesn't necessarily just have to be students. It could also be teachers, parents, anyone who's part of the company and part of the product can also be part of the story. It's also important to make sure that those testimonials are up to date and fairly modern. If the last one is from 2006, then there's there must be a sort of latent expectation in people's heads that the last person who actually studied with you came in 2006. So we need to make sure that they're up to date and very, very current. You need to make sure, obviously, that you get explicit permission from the people whose testimonials you're using. permission to use their image and their comments, their name, where they live, etc. It's very important with testimonials that they're actually from real people and that those people are identified. So if you see a testimonial that says, fantastic course, John, then I think there's a vague kind of sensation that, who is John and is John invented. But if it says, I don't know, Juan Martin, systems operator, Madrid, you've got, and there's a photo of Juan Martin, at least you've got a vague inkling that they may actually be a real person. People like to know where people come from, what they do, and what they got from your product. Also, I think if possible, it's great to have a short kind of vox pop video or a link to one on YouTube where a happy student talks about their experience with you. Videos, we know this now, the video is, it's the biggest grower in terms of web content. It's one of the most popular ways of getting information these days. And Google's search really does favour a kind of mix of media and certainly video. Obviously, Google have a vested interest in video being popular. When you do make that video, the one thing you need to do, I think is really, really important, is to make sure that it's subtitled. Because a lot of people end up watching videos in public places these days. They're often, it'll be on their mobile device, they may not have their headphones with them, but the videos on places like Facebook, they autoplay. And if the video grabs their interest, they're going to sit and watch it. But if they can't listen to it and there are no subtitles, your message is going to be lost. So I think those subtitles are incredibly important. There's a link in the task below here to one that we recently made for Hugh and Andrew at Lexical Lab. And you can see how that kind of combination of graphic, video and subtitle works. It's important, I think, when on your website to think all the time about who actually who decides to send students to your schools? Who makes that decision and appeal to them? Is it parents? Is it agents? Who makes that decision? Because actually they're the people that you really need to reach in terms of going that final extra mile to them hitting the pay button or actually paying for a course. Obviously, you can't exclude all the other people. You want your students, potential students to be interested, etc. But when it comes down to sales, they're going to be the people that you really want to engage with. There are other tiny things. Make sure that you've got good quality text on the page, and we'll be coming back to that in the video on SEO. Make sure that you check your external links regularly, that you don't have broken links, because those kind of things people find not only annoying, but indicative of the care that you've put into what you do.